Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Garblag Games for episode 6 of Hallowed Are The Gods, our season finale of Age of Sigmar Soulbound. It's been fun so far, I think. Everyone's been enjoying themselves. Can I get a hearty nod?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there we go.
Absolutely.
That's
Big
about as
fun,
good as
big
it gets. That's about as good as it gets. You will recognise all of us, I'm sure. It is Warhammer Wednesdays, and we are always here on Wednesdays. However, I will leave my players to introduce themselves and their characters, and we shall start with Aaron.
Oi, I'm Grim Redhammer, the Auric Rune Smiter. That's right. A fire slayer, a killer. And this week I spent my experience points on picking up a new talent, the Test of Wrath. Sure, I suffered a little wound for it, but now I can activate all my runes for the big final fight.
Oh, how exciting. And from one dodgy accent to the next, we will pass over to Jim.
I'm crikey. I'm still logging in.
Okay, Roger.
Hi, I'm Roger, and I'm playing Borry of Ragewood, and I haven't spent my XP because I'm hoping we're going to get a season 2.
And
That's
Dan.
amazingly optimistic of you.
Yeah, you're all going to die and be reforged.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Dathos. What am I playing again? Nightquester, that's the one. Nightquester, Stormcast Eternal. It's only been a week, and I've already forgotten what I'm playing. And looking forward to the final fight. I too haven't spent my XP. But I'm hoping for a season 2.
Toughness.
So
you wanted more toughness.
Yeah, but there's not a lot I can put it back up in. I mean, I suppose I could buy another rank in Determination.
Determination or Fortitude, you know?
Oh no, I've already maxed out on Fortitude.
Of course you have. So tough. So we hand over to Jim.
Yeah, okay, my name's Jim. I'm 51. I'm a male. And I am playing
Rock show.
I am playing a rather wet but stunning looking Aelf Ideneth Deepkin, and I am.
Wait, he's 51.
I am. I've not got. Well, you're totally spoiling my immersion now. Yeah. Nobody knows how old Tunzel is because he's a Deepkin. Yeah, and yeah, he's just he's moist all the time.
Okay. So when we last saw our adventurers, they were just leaving Life's Point, having just had an epic battle and joined by allies to defeat the forces of Nurgle and save the city. Daphos found some concerning news regarding the Stormcast, but has not elected to share that information as of yet. And they were leaving the gates of Life's Point and heading on to their final destination. And joining them was Hans Hammerfall, a Excelsior war priest of Sigmar. He's there to repay a debt which Grim has convinced him exists. So he's there to repay a debt and serve Sigmar in the best way he knows how. So we rejoined our adventures. It's been about 3 days since they've left Life's Point, and they've been sort of wandering through the woods trying to follow the map and the compass. Unfortunately, neither the map or the compass is being particularly useful at the moment. The compass keeps changing directions, and you keep following it. And the map doesn't seem to have the same paths on it. Each time you look at it, the paths seem to change. And thankfully, you do have a kind of hunter with you, and every night you're camping down. And, you know, despite the fact you've been wandering around for 3 days, your morale's pretty high. Hans Hammerfall was regaling you of stories of his glories. You guys are mostly thinking, sounds all right. And, you know, this night in particular, the hunter has found you a very nice cave. You're out of the rain, you know, keeping nice and warm. Your discussion turns to the map and the compass, and Hans sort of turns to you, Daphos, and says, "Are you sure you're reading that right?" I don't know why he's gone Scottish all of a sudden. He's not Scottish. He's supposed to be more like Brian Blessed. Apologies there. But he asks you, "Are you reading the map right?"
I believe so, priest. It has perhaps got a will of its own.
And as you hold it up to him, it's sort of changing direction like this. Fandangled magic contraptions. Don't understand it. Oh, trust in Sigmar. That's what we need to do.
Yes.
And then he sort of turns to you all and goes, "Oh, we've been walking around for a day. My feet are killing me, especially all this armor. I'm going to get some shut eye." And he sort of goes down to sleep and leaves the four of you if you want to have any open discussions before you sort of shut down for the night.
It's great. Do I sleep?
Yeah, Stormcast sleep. I mean, you are still technically, in a way, human to a point. I mean, you're ish. You probably don't need to sleep as long as you're human. You probably don't need to, as much sustenance. You're at powerhouse, always ready to go. But you probably would sleep to a point.
Okay.
Don't know.
Right, Dathos, you gonna stop jerking us around with this map and get us where we're going? I want to close this contract.
My dear bearded comrade, this is not on me. This is this confangled compass here. Believe me, I'm trying to get us where we want to go. I want this thing done as much as you do.
Well, figure your shit out there. Get with Sigmar or whoever you need to and get this done. I'm going to sleep.
Right.
Orion, for you, you've not really been sleeping too much. You're a tree, kind of just root down every now and again, suck up some sustenance, and carry on going. But the tree song for you has been particularly, not annoying, but it's been sort of very catastrophic. It's not, it's chaotic. It's not, the messages are all coming in different ways and they're different things and saying different things. Someone's saying, help, someone's requesting aid. Seems to you like the forest itself, the realm of life itself is under siege. You've heard calls for Lariel in amongst all of this, but it's not making much sense to you at the moment. It's sort of, you're trying to focus in on it, but the tree songs, like I said, it sounds to you like there's lots of messages going backwards and forwards, and it's not making too much clear sense at the moment, which is obviously disturbing your mind and not allowing you to properly rest and recuperate. But you sort of all sleep the night, and it goes without passing. The hunter manages to always find the most safest, loveliest place for you to camp, and you all set off in the morning. And you're walking for a couple of hours. Would you all care to do me a 4-2 intuition test?
This is one of my strengths here. Grim is very intuitive. Yeah, I know. He's not really. That was a lie.
We're not a particularly intuitive party, let's be honest.
Apparently not. I mean, neither's Hans Hammerfall. Who are we missing on that? Daphos. Okay, that was a terrible roll by my players. No one got that. So no, so you carry on walking for a little bit longer, and again the map is still doing the same thing. It's moving around and shifting. Would you guys like to try and do anything?
So do we know where we're actually aiming for? We're trying to find the Lariel, aren't we?
You're trying to find the Sacred Grove, which is supposed to be her meeting point for her council and things like that.
I mean, would I be able to find that as a Sylvaneth tracker in my home realm?
You would have an idea of its general direction, but you would also know that it has defenses to stop people who aren't supposed to be there being there. So you can certainly have a go.
Yeah, but I'd imagine I can, ask
You want the compass?
to point me in the right direction, etc.
Yeah, you can certainly. Well, give me a what kind of roll do I want from you here?
Tracking?
I think which will be survival probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so give me a survival roll, and I'll give you an advantage because you're also trying to track into the tree song itself.
I get advantage anyway.
Yeah, but what I'll do is I'll give you an extra dice.
Oh, so I get 2 extra dice.
Yeah, give yourself another extra dice because you're also focusing on the tree song. You're trying to find sort of focusing on the directions because it's a hidden grove for a reason. It's hidden even for some of the Sylvaneth.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. So you you focus in on it, and while it doesn't give you the clearest of directions in which you are going, i.e. the map and the compass aren't making entire sense, what you actually work out is that you are in the wandering woods, and the path and the compass can't pick itself out because the path keeps changing. The trees change direction, the roots change direction, and therefore it's harder to focus down sort of the direction you're going, because actually the paths are just leading you in a merry circle. The trees are there to stop you getting near the sacred grove. So you're sort of focused in on the tree song, and you can hear almost the message that sort of draws you that way. And so you start looking at the compass, and you sort of explain this to the others. They probably don't entirely get it, but you explain to the others that the trees are changing direction, and that's why the compass and thus you need to watch on the map and potentially the compass, and you tapping into the tree song potentially leads you in the right direction. So with that in mind, can you all roll me another 4-2 intuition roll? Give yourself
I tell you.
Dice.
Yeah, we have none of this shit at Sigmar.
I tell you what, Borir,
Oh,
this
forgot to
axe will
put
take
two, but
this axe will help me out with some of this tree problems if they keep giving us so much grief.
And
I don't respond other than looking at my scythe and looking back at him.
And Grim, even you to that, hear the trees creaking around you.
I'm just kidding. Jeez. Nobody here ever hears a dwarf joke.
Excellent. So, Tanzil and Ragewood and Daphos, you did not roll another roll for me.
I haven't. No, it's.
You got an extra die as well.
And I think that it's 262 on the for the 6, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
I
did pass.
Hey!
There we go. Lovely. So, with the new information that sort of Boris is giving you, it sort of helps you sort of guide yourselves along the path. Now, you sort of, at one point, you do walk past where you were camped last night. You look up and you see the cove you were all camped in, and you're obviously a little bit stressed. And Hans is, we were just there last night. I don't know why he's Scottish. I can't get out of it now. So it's a little bit frustrating, but you sort of find the path. And at one point, you actually see the trees shift. And as the trees shift, Borir, the tree song, a separate tree song, sort of tells you to wait and not follow the new path, but wait for a new path to open. So you wait for a little bit, and the trees part again, and you sort of move on your way. But it's not going as fast as you would like. Daphos, when you look at the map, there's a message on it, and it just says the light will guide the way. Doesn't tell you what the light is, doesn't tell you anything. It just says the light will guide the way.
That's probably that one that we broke.
Gentlemen, writing has appeared on this map for the first time. It says the light will lead the way.
Well, do you got light?
Can't say I got one on me.
Where are you getting your light from, man? You got any God's magical light? Yeah. Does your hammer glow in the dark? Yeah.
Daphos, you remember that the thing powering the compass is called the Light of Malleus.
Do I remember that? Okay. I mean, the thing lighting it, the thing powering it is called the Light of Malleus.
Well, stands to reason that must be it then. So shine it on the bloody map and let's get to it.
I'll try that.
Yep, you shine it on the map, and actually what it shows you is some other paths. They're not there currently, but it shows you other paths. And what you can see is where you're standing, there's almost a direct route to a point on the map that seems almost never shifting. It's like it's hidden. Almost like, like in a tactical map on the game, you see the fog of war. There's like a fog of war over it. You can't see into it, but it leads you in that direction. So you summarize that that's probably where you're heading. And lo and behold, after waiting for about 30 minutes or so, the trees part again and you can continue on your path. Now, the light isn't showing you exactly the timings of the things, but it is now pointing you in the right direction. The compass itself is still going crazy, but as you shine the light on the map, you can see the paths going through. And as you sort of, you again wandering for a couple of hours, and in the distance, you can sort of hear something now. You've been traveling for a while, and you can hear, what you hear is what you think is trickling water. And as you sort of next set of trees part, there's a river. Nothing unique about it other than the fact it is a river of pure aqua Guaranis. So it's obviously flowing from somewhere. Now, this river doesn't appear on the map at all, but it's a good place to rest and recuperate if you wish to do so, or you can continue on your journey. and potentially gather up some Aquagranus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably kind of plant my, I don't know,
Yeah, let's
roots,
make camp.
toes into it and take some on.
So what you get, Borea, when you take it in through your roots is there's a message in the water. And it just simply says corruption at the oak. Now, you know that the oak, specifically special oaks, exist in the middle of most glades. And that's generally how you guys travel when not obviously using your feet when you travel through the world routes and things like that. So there's something clearly in danger, and it's along this path of the river. But you can all gain an extra vial of Aquagranus, which I think is about 100 drops, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, as you sort of top yourself up and fill up some bits and pieces.
Well, this was a fortuitous stop. Shall we get on about our business?
The river tells me there is corruption at the oak. And I'll kind of explain in as simple terms as he thinks he can to the others what that means.
You mean there's finally a tree around here that I could chop down? Just kidding, Borea.
And again, the trees around you creak. It's very much that this wood itself is fully alive. You can sort of, even though some of you aren't tapped into magic or anything like that, all of you can sense the very life in this. It's very rich with life. And it may be to do with the fact that there's Aquagranus running purely through it that gives it this life. You shine the light back on the map and you head back on your way. And the paths are ever changing. At one point, you go to step forward and the trees sort of close in front of you and you have to wait for a little while. But eventually you sort of make your way, and you're starting to see not necessarily a clearing, but you're starting to see ahead of you when trees part and move that you think you see a glade ahead of you. But there are other noises now. And off in the distance, you sort of can hear, doesn't sound like cheering, but more like orders being barked around. And unusually, it's human voices you're hearing, especially unusually for you, Borea, because normally humans don't make it this deep into these kind of sacred places, as it were. And as you get through the next sort of tree movement, and the light of Malleus stops moving around in the compass like this and then points directly ahead of you. So you're now going, it's sort of giving you a very clear path now. And it's like that scene in Phantom Menace. You're behind sort of that red barrier, waiting for those next red barriers to open to get to where you want to go. And so you can now see in front of you is this humongous glade. It's massive. You know,
And
you're looking at the
Darth
map, and Darth Maul, potentially. But it's huge. You know, and when you look at the map, you don't feel like this level of space should exist where you're standing right now. But it is, it's huge. And in the middle, there's like a sort of cliff, not a cliff, but like a mountainy sort of, think the mountainy bit that comes off Minas Tirith, that mountainy bit that sort of comes to a point. And on top of that point, there's a huge oak tree. Borea, you know this to be the oak of life. It's one of the first trees that Alariel planted back in the Age of Myth when she first woke up in the realms after the world that was destroyed. And flowing out from under its roots is the Aquagranus, which goes into a load of small rivers that are trickling off into the wood. This is the oak of life. It gives life to this very end, gives life to so many Sylvaneths. So it's a really important location. This is where Alariel holds her court a lot of the time as well when she gets it all together. But looking out, what you see is actually sort of two forces either side of this cliff range. And they're sort of set up in a defensive sort of formation. As you're looking at it on the right-hand side, there is a load of Free Guild Guard. You surmise that this is likely the survivors from that Cog fortress, which you saw so many, many days ago on your travels, and you've been following their sort of tracks on and off. And you can see on a rocky outcrop, there's someone in a very fancy looking poofy uniform sort of waving his hands around. You can't hear him at this distance really, and you can hear sort of general clamoring. And you can see a clear line of sort of shields and halberds sort of ready, and a couple of cannons on an outcrop with Dwarden engineers. And opposing them, just coming in from the glade and coming up from the ground, is a load of Skaven forces, and they look like followers of Nurgle. You can clearly tell they've got like horrible robes and pustule spots on them, and there's big ogre ones of them, and all sorts of weird contraptions. On the left-hand side of the mountain, there is a Sylvaneth force. Now, Borea, you know this to be Let me just get his name for you. This is the Tree Lord Ancient Ardeneth Silverbark, and he's often considered as of one of Alariel's right-hand tree lords. He's very important, and sort of arrayed around him is dryads and corn-off hunters. It's got a fairly sizable force, and standing opposite them is a massive Nurgle force, a load of plague bearers riding on weird fly creature things. Looks like that the forces of Nurgle have come to Alariel's most sacred grove to destroy it and corrupt it, and ultimately potentially kill the entire forest. Now, you can't get to it, but what you see also, as sort of like the sort of battle lines are starting to come together and clamoring and that, and the Free Guild Guard get hit first by the Skaven, and they're organised. They've got shields in front, halbards over the top. The Skaven don't seem to be getting anywhere. But what you see actually marching up the main part of the sort of field, a very small company of Stormcast Eternals. They're all silver and blue and look like Daphos in armor, and they're marching up the middle of the battlefield. And there is 10 liberators, or what you are, Daphos, you seem to think they're liberators, shields, hammers, what you would expect of liberators. But just standing behind them, there's a man, or a Stormcast, I should say, holding a very large halberd, lovely cape on, sort of loads of stuff. Daphos, you can't see obviously the front of him, but you figure this is the Stormcast you're looking for. This is Vernus Starhelm. This was the guy you set out right at the beginning to find. This is the guy who was sent to negotiate with Alariel.
Well,
go for
he
it.
made it to her.
Yeah. Oh, you can't see Alariel. There's no sight of her on this battlefield at this moment in time. So obviously you can see them sort of approaching. They've sort of almost divided. So the Lord Celestant is sort of sitting back a little bit, and there's two sort of groups of 5 liberators making their way up to sort of the battle lines. And there's cheering from the Free Guild Guard. They seem obviously very happy to see that there's some Stormcasts there. Unfortunately, that cheering is cut incredibly short as the first Stormcast Eternal gets to the battle line. His hammer crushes the skull of a Free Guild Guard. And then his hammer strikes again and kills another Free Guild Guard. And before long, they're wading into the Free Guild Guard. Now, they're not being discriminant, because as soon as a Skaven gets near to one of them, they crush that as well. But they appear to be just killing everybody.
Hey, Daphos. Looks like some of your compatriots there have got a few bolts loose. Might want to go have a chat with them.
Yeah, I think we should go and have a chat with them.
And almost at the same time, on the left-hand side of the battlefield, same thing happens. Stormcasters, these 5 liberators sort of get into the battle line, and the first one smashes a dryad into little pieces. Unfortunately, his victory is short-lived, because the next thing in the line is a corn-off hunter. As we have seen for your friend, they are very large. And he brings his sword up and down, doesn't even think twice about it. They obviously are not as trusting as the Free Guild Guard, who are now being waded into. He was fully prepared, seems, for treason. And he lops the head off of this Stormcast Eternal. And what you see, Daphos, probably concerns you more than anything. The lightning bolt goes up. He's got to go back to Azir. That's what happens when you guys die. However, it's not the standard sort of bluey, lovely, clear, white bolt that it is normally. It's a purpley, bluey bolt. And it heads up, but as it starts to slow down and vibrate in the air, and then zips off over the heads of the Sylvaneth and over the heads of the Nurgle forces and into the forest. And you lose sight of it because it's a lightning bolt, but then you see a flash in the forest, and then it dies down to a glow and then disappears.
In Sigmar's name, what was that?
And almost at the same time, on the other side of the battlefield, you can see the general guy. He's not as flustered as his troops are when they're getting hit, and you can see him sort of waving his hands. He's clearly barking orders, and a group of handgunners on the top of the hill turn and crack off a load of shots. And most of the liberators get their shields up to deflect the shots, but one liberator was too busy massacring a load of Free Guild humans who are supposed to be on the same side. And he takes about 4 shots, and the same thing happens. A bluey, purpley bolt goes into the sky, shakes, and then goes into the woodlands. Now, this time the flash is a little bit closer, and it dies down to a glow again. And at this point, the trees in front of you part, and you're now able to enter the glade as it was. Now, they are a long way off at this point in time. But standing not too far in front of you is the Lord Celestant, the guy you were looking for. So would you like to make your way onto the glade, or are you going to wait for later to happen?
I think we'll go and talk to the Lord Sullerson.
Yeah. Would you guys like to do any prep work? You've been watching this battle, so would you guys like to do anything prep wise for? It's a big fight coming. Hans Hammerfall's been like praying and making his weapon glow and stuff. So
yeah. I'm gonna oil my wood.
And obviously that you hear the rumbling of the prayers to Grimnir, and he stops for a second. He goes, "By the way, Grimnir is not going to turn crazy and start killing humans like Sigmar. So just relax and enjoy this, Dathos." And you feel the blessings of Grimnir coat you, and you become armored in his might.
Hey,
excellent,
it's our
fantastic.
favorite spell.
Yes, and Hans Hammerfall, he's like sort of prepping himself, and you almost feel like he's charging himself up, and in Signar's name I shall smite thee. He obviously looked a little bit put out by the fact that the Stormcast Eternals were killing, because you guys are supposed to be pure of pure. You're Sigmar's will, and so his faith was a little shaken for a moment, but he's back to being his usual self, bellowing voice and prepping. And so you step into the glade. However, you don't get far before the Lord Celestin. He almost like he feels your presence. More importantly, he feels your presence, Daphos. And as you make your sort of way onto the battlefield, you can now hear a little bit more of what's going on. And Daphos, what bothers you most of all is the war cry that the Liberators are screaming as they smash people's skulls in and break trees and kill Skaven and Plague Bearers alike. And it's not only the faithful, which is the war cry of your chamber. It is "Hallowed are the gods," and it's every time they strike. Hallowed are the gods. And
there is only one god. And his name is Sigmar.
No, there are definitely a lot.
Yeah, but there's is only Sigmar, right? I mean,
and it almost gives you a sharp pain in your mind every time they say "Hallowed are the gods." Bang, and you remember that from your reforging, hearing those very words. Yeah. And it's like a shooting pain in your mind every time they go, "Hallowed are the gods." And sort of Vernus ominously turns round, almost like he's searching for you. And as he turns around, his eyes aren't glowing from the lightning or anything like that. They're burning bright with a blue and purple flame.
This isn't right.
And he turns around to you and he says, "Hallowed are the gods. Only by rooting out all corruption can Sigmar ascend to the realms as the one true god." And he starts walking towards you. And he's still a fair way off, but flames flicker around him. And he disappears from sight for a second and reappears one zone in front of you. Can I have your initiatives, please, gentlemen?
7.
Well, you may remember that Grim got a little upgrade a couple of sessions ago, and his initiative's now 5. He's a fast dwarf.
Still 3 for me.
Still 6 for me.
3 and 6 for Tanzil. And what is the father? What is the priest? He is also 3. It's 3. I'm sure you'll all be pleased to know that the man you're up against is not some run-of-the-mill character. He is initiative 8.
Ooh.
I'd prefer to have a run-of-the-mill character, please.
Yeah, can we change it? Can we have a goblin?
I'm afraid not. So he's one zone away from you, and with reckless abandon, he sort of charges into you. He's not thinking about what he's doing. He's not controlling himself in any way, shape, or form. And he sort of absolutely sort of plows in towards you guys. He goes straight for you, Daphos. Understandably, I think he thinks that, one, you're the most threatening one, but also you're a Stormcast Eternal, and you're linked on another level. So he comes flying into you and he's charging, and he hits you. What's your defense rating?
I haven't had a chance.
I believe it's great, off the top of my head.
I haven't had a chance to raise my thingy, have I? My balk.
Turns out I was wrong about that. You don't need to do that, by the way. I should have said that. I saw one of the comments on the people watching this lovely show. The bulwark automatically activates when you're outnumbered, so you don't need to use metal to do that.
Jolly good.
When you're outnumbered,
makes it a lot better.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't need metal to activate it. It automatically activates when you're outnumbered.
I was wondering what the point of it was when you can spend metal to dodge.
Yes. In theory, you can do both. So great defense because you've got shield and good.
Superb, which makes me think I've put my
It means your bulwark's probably on. You just need to switch it off. That's fine.
yeah.
Not a problem. So he swings at you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, let me switch it off.
Not the best in the world.
Oh my guts.
Lovely. So he does 7 damage to you. And he also rends your armor a little. So you lose a point of armor as he hits you with this very large halberd. And he sort of brings it up and smacks you with it, and it hits hard.
Ow.
Yes. And then he's going to spend a point of metal, and he spins it around, but this time aims for you, Borear. He seems intent on attacking all of you. What's your defense rating, good sir?
Great.
Great. Also. Ooh. And you also lose a point of non-magical armor, and you also take 7 points of damage. Now, the rend applies after you've soaked the damage. So remove your current armor and then lower your armor by 1. Thankfully for you, Roger, your armor grows back. But that is him for the moment.
Ow.
So you all now get to attack him.
Okay, I am going to. I'm assuming I'm first from.
Yep,
my
you are.
initiative.
You're first up because you're 7th. So it goes you, Tanzil, and then Grim and Daphos and Hans. He has defense superb now because he is outnumbered.
Rude.
Oh, I should also have an extra fight. What do I need to hit him?
You're hitting on superb, so you should be hitting on 5s because you're great, aren't you, in attacking?
I am.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot to apply my bonus focus, so it's damage 7.
That's fine. So let me just lower his toughness a bit. So damage 7. Lovely. He is. So you cut into him, and it clearly gets something. You clearly sort of feel it grip, bite, and below the armor. So you've pierced his armor, and sort of as you draw it out, there is blood. They bleed, but it's not entirely sort of crimson red as you would expect if you were to pierce a human skin. It's sort of like a dark purpley red, like almost like it's corrupted in some way, shape, or form.
Okay, and I will use my point of metal to dodge.
Okie dokie. Raise your defense rating by 1. And next up, it is Tanzil.
Yeah. I will steam in with my eel. With my biovolactic blast.
Lovely. So he'll get no armor in your strike.
Okay. What's the difficulty?
Superb.
Superb.
He is he's a lord of the Stormcast Eternals. He's not some pushover.
This might be a good place for you to use a point of soulfire.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, Jim. If you want to use Soulfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I do that?
Then you can maximize your successes. I think you just have to right click and.
I think you right click on it and it says apply Soulfire.
Yeah, just because of the.
Yeah, since you're bypassing his armor, you might.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
So
right click on your roll and just apply Soulfire.
all right. On the roll.
Yeah, if you just right click on one of the dice, and then it should come up saying make apply Soulfire. There we go.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
2, 4, 6, 8. It's not calculating it quite, I don't think, but
No, that's fine. But we can work that out. That's 12.
12 damage, yeah.
Yeah. So, whew, that is a
Plus
whacking.
whatever his base is.
Yeah, so it's it'd be +1 when it'd be 13. Maybe you will kill this guy easily, or maybe I should have made him harder.
Although we can only do that once, can't we?
Yeah, he has to recharge that, and it takes a long time to recharge it.
Yeah.
Let me just adjust his toughness. Take him down a peg. Oh yeah, that really hurt him. Yeah, he's sort of, as you come over, you sort of like bring your blade across, and you kind of find a weak point between the shoulder and the neck armor, and sort of you see a splutter come out of it. He's still standing, but he does look a bit hurt. How would you like to do anything with your metal, good sir?
I shall spend a metal and spend it on dodge.
Yeah, lovely. Your melee step defense by 1, which then brings us to Grim Redhammer. I'll be really upset if you guys kill him in one round of combat.
Get out of the way, tree. I'm going to spend my point of metal to double my training. It's not so might get smacked down hard later, but I'm going in for the big hit. And you said his defense is superb.
Superb, yeah.
That's makes me so sad, but okay.
Is that right? Are you hitting on superb?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Great. Apply a focus to your 3 and you can get another success.
Right, there we go.
Lovely jubbly. Oh, yeah, he felt that. So you sort of so as he sort of almost raises his glaive to try and protect his halberd to try and protect himself from another strike from the darting around eel above him. You sort of see an opening in his side, and you sort of bring the axe, and it sort of bites deep into it, and you can hear a grunt from him. He's still standing, but he's wobbling around a little bit. See, put this on.
You soiled my axe with your purple blood, you big git.
Which brings us to you, Dathos.
Let's bring it.
Finish him. If you kill him, you're going to have to like rip his head off or something. Proper finisher.
Dathos, before you strike,
Oh,
you know.
too late.
No, that's right. It's fine. It's just a bit of story for you. Oh, only 1. Which he soaked.
You can spend.
I might use my. Yeah, I'm going to use my reroll on that anyway.
Yeah. But before you do, you notice something. The compass, the light, is now pointing directly at Vernus. You're not sure why, but the light is pointing directly at Vernus. It's almost like flickering. You can see it on your hip. It's kind of flickering. It's almost distracting you a little bit, which is why your first blow doesn't land.
All right, I will try on my reroll. What was this target? What was this defense? Sorry.
Superb.
Oh wow. That's a bit better.
He soaks it. So you've sort of he's hit one of his pauldrons as you sort of bring it over. Would you like to do anything with your metal?
I will use a point of metal to try and attack him again.
Go for it. Same thing. Oh no, you could apply a focus to your 5 and you will get 1 point of damage on him.
Hooray! I scratched him.
No, actually, you plunge your blade. The sort of thing comes around and you plunge it into his chest. And what you thought was going to be a fairly innocuous blow drives straight through his chest.
Oh no.
Thanks, guys.
Did we actually kill him in a rod round?
Yeah. Fool. Jim came in and went,
I'm sorry.
He's not having any armor. Oh, thanks, Jim. Anyway, so you plunge.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, you plunge your blade into his chest, and sort of for a moment, you see clarity in his eyes. The burning disappears, and he drops to his knees, and he's sort of gasping, and he sort of raises up his halberd to you and goes, "Only the faithful," and falls backwards. Would you like to take the halberd before he falls?
Yes.
Yes, I shall drop
Say
it.
the power word, yoink.
Give me 2 seconds, and I will drop that into your thing and equip it for you. I just need to edit something on it actually for yourself.
Bloody hell.
There you are. You can use it. It doesn't have the two-handed thing, but for some reason it wouldn't let me take the two-handed thing off of it. So
It's a one-handed halberd.
yeah, it's a celestial halberd. It's designed by Stormcast to be used by Stormcast. So it's a one-handed halberd. He was using it one-handed. So wow, okay, cool. Well, that was not as epic as I was hoping it was going to be. He didn't even get to use all of his fancy prayers. Nevertheless, you have.
That'll turn him for being a follower of Siege. Oh, what colour was his lightning?
Yeah, can I just say welcome to my world?
Yeah, but this time it was you, Jim. You shouldn't do this to me. You know better than that.
Why do you think he's doing it?
So sort of only the faithful. He hands it to you, and you can see in that moment his eyes are not burning in a horrible purpley blue. It's almost back to his normal eyes. And in that moment, he said, "Only the faithful," which is your chamber's war cry. And you've sort of taken the halberd off of him, and he collapses back on the floor. And the lightning heads up again. Same purpley blue color, unfortunately. And it vibrates in the air, and it zips. And this time you're following it. And unfortunately, where you follow it to is a trio of great unclean ones who have just burst out from the edge of the woodlands. And the lightning heads straight towards them. And you think it's going to hit them. And at the last minute, it goes into the center one's hip. He has a giant lantern on his hip. What you recognize, Tanzil, Mr. Jim, is that this lantern, minus its weird chaotic symbols and stuff on it, is very similar to the lantern you carry to capture souls for your people. It seems they've somehow stolen Ideneth magical trinkets, as it were, something very important to your people and how you give your...
They've nicked your shit.
Basically, only they're using it for nefarious means, and that is capturing Stormcast souls, which normally would travel back to the realm of heavens and be reforged. You can see inside this now, this very large lantern. There's multiple little lights sort of bouncing around inside of it. And sort of you get a moment's breath to look around the battlefield and see what's going on. And the Free Guild have sort of sorted themselves out into some sort of reasonable line again. They're now very much compacted back against now the edge of the mountains, and the same thing for the Sylvaneth. They're faring a little better, but three great unclean ones now stand in front of them. And what you hear is the sort of the lightning bolt goes into the lantern. You hear one of the great unclean ones go, "Ah, Grog, that's another one for the collection. Yes, Bog, it is one for the collection. A juicy one at that. What do you think, Smog? I don't like Stormcast. They don't taste right. Always upsetting the plan of our grandfather. Yes, well, if we corrupt this great oak, we will be rewarded." And they start sort of trundling forward. They don't move particularly fast, but they start trundling towards the battle line. And what you hear is an unearthly roar, and you realize it's coming from the Tree Lord. Up until this point, he's been sort of sitting back, doing a little bit of magic, trying to protect his people. But obviously, he's now enraged. There's huge, massive, great unclean ones in this sacred grove of Valarial. And boy, yeah, this hits you deeply, this roar. It's a bit like Treebeard's roar in Lord of the Rings 22 Towers.
It's the call to war for everyone.
Roar! And sort of, you see the trees around you sort of rumbling. The whole forest seems to be answering. And he goes beeline straight for the first one, which is on the furthest one away from you, not the center one with the lantern.
How far away are we from all of this?
A fair distance. And the situation is desperate. There's a huge amount of plague bearers and dryads and stuff ahead of you. You don't know entirely sure that you can easily get to those great unclean ones. Daphos, for you, the compass is pointing at a small horn on your hip. A horn that was given to you in the last session.
Yes, I will get out my horn.
And give us your best horn.
I will get out my horn and give my horn a good blow.
Go on then. I want to hear it. Beautiful. And the camera pans away, and in the realm of heavens, there stands a Stormcast Eternal, guard us still soul. Our brother calls for aid. Woof, back to you guys. with a clap of thunder.
Can I start running towards the Nurgle?
You can in a second. Boom! A load of Stormcast Eternals appear just ahead of you. Well, fair distance ahead of you, almost in the battle line as it is straight away. And that sort of Gardas looks back to you and raises his hammer, and almost in unison, there are those Stormcast Eternals. There's about 50 Liberators have just appeared, but it is a huge Nurgle force. So probably one of the biggest Nurgle forces you've ever seen stands up before you. And as one, they cry, "Only the faithful!" And you see Gardas leading the point, and it sort of creates a wedge. And it looks to you that they're trying to clear a path for you guys to get to the Great Unclean Ones. But you have a decision to make at this point. The compass in your hand, Daphos, you know that these astral compasses, they aren't just used for directional things. There are Stormcast who can manipulate them and use them to teleport. But there is an indecision in your mind about who to go and help. You can help the Free Guild, or you can help the Sylvaneth. You cannot help both. You tactically are aware that you guys are not mighty enough to help both forces.
Where do we go?
I'm already running.
The tree's already running. Understandably, he's heard the call of war.
And which one of these great unclean ones has the lantern?
The center one.
On the center one?
Yeah, he is known as, let me give you his name so you have it.
General Grievous.
General
A
Grievous.
fine addition to my collection.
His name is Grog. And you saw him lean over to the one on the left and called him Bog, and you saw him lean over to the one on the right and call him Smog. So it's Grog, Bog, and Smog standing there, and they are they've now got to the main battle line, and they're sort of crushing Stormcast as they see fit. They are enormous. They are great unclean ones.
Right, Dathos. If we go after the one in the middle with that lantern with all your brothers in it, I want a significant change order on my contract, but let's get to it.
Let's do it.
And before sort of you venture off, Hans looks to you all and says, "I appreciate that you may want to save the trees, but our brother Free Guild and our brothers and sisters, they're being slaughtered."
Well, head on over there, Hans.
"I came to pay a debt, but I must aid them. For Sigmar!" And he starts sprinting off towards the Free Guild. So in one direction, you've got your tree running one way, and in the other direction, you've got Hans Hammerfall running towards the beleaguered Free Guild.
The duality of choice. Okay. Well, we've known the tree longer. Let's face it. We'll go help the tree.
Okay. So Daphos, in that moment, the arrow, the compass that was bouncing between the Free Guild and that, and it was sensing your indecision, points purely towards the sort of the Nurgle battle line, as it were.
Yeah.
And you almost feel the lightning course through all of you on this occasion. And even you, Boria, who started running off, feels like the lightning bolt and kind of this aetheric wind grabs you all, and you're sort of teleported across the battlefield. Think of it as almost like a Bifrost sort of beaming you across the battlefield, and you reappear next to Garda Steelsoul and his men as they try to create this wedge and cut through these Nurgles. "Good of you to join us. I'll take the one on the left. The tree's got the one on the right. You take the main one in the middle." And, he's Garda Steelsoul. He's beaten Great Unclean Ones before. He's fairly sure he can take one on his own. And it's almost like they create a small aisle, and either side of you, there's these liberators holding off these Nurglings and plague bearers, and there's some flies coming down, and every now and again a fly sort of swoops down towards you, and you see this giant arrow, and it's like you can see like these cord of hunters sitting at the back firing off these massive artillery-like bows that are just smashing into them. There's some raging battle around you. There's all sorts of forces going on. But you now have a clear beeline for this Great Unclean One. And he's almost chuckling. He can see you coming. He knows that you're coming for this fight with him. On the sort of far side away from you, you can see the tree, and he's sort of fairly graceful for a ginormous tree. He's got this massive staff, and he's sort of bringing it around, and he's in a titanic duel with this other Great Unclean One. And Gardas sort of breaks through, and as I said before in the last episode, he's got a purity about him, and he just casts aside a load of them without even hitting them. But he gets to the Great Unclean One, and a battle ensues, and you can hear the clash of steel and whatnot. But the big one, he's ahead of you, and he's sort of almost willing you to come at him.
Well, let's not disappoint.
Okay.
Sigmar!
Yes.
And gold. Gold.
And sort of as you shout, Daphos, as you shout for Sigmar, you hear all of your brothers around you and sisters around you. Only the faithful. Bam! And they almost all strike in, and a lightning sort of crash and pushes a load of nerve, and it gives you that through, and you sort of all push through. And now, while the battle rages are on around you, you stand before this humongous, horribly swollen, it stinks awful, but it's humongous, great unclean one whose blade is bigger than any one of you. And you know, it's a nasty looking thing. It doesn't look like a fresh or easy fight. However, we will step into initiative. My God, I did not see that. Great Unclean Ones, for some reason, I have no idea how this happens for Great Unclean Ones, but they have an initiative of 8.
That's because they're greater demons.
Yeah,
Yes, they are, but they are
known.
They are known for being exceptionally slow, aren't they?
Yeah, on the tabletop, they've got terrible initiative.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are terribly slow. However, this guy is humongous, and he is equipped with a giant bile blade. And he sort of, you've come to add to Grog's collection, have you? Daphos, what you see, however, is a stormcast goes down behind you. And his lightning bolt is nice and pure and white and heads off to Azir. It appears only the corrupted lightning bolts get sucked in. And at that, Grog goes, that one's from my collection. And you hear Bog, who's in the middle of a fight, that he did say that we would only get the blue and purple ones. You don't know who he's talking about, but he's now standing in front of you, and he is going to try and whomp one of you. Oh my God, he's got so many talents. This is ridiculous. Right, okay, he is going to swing at one of you. I am going to randomize it. Let's do a D6 for you guys. There's 4 of you, so I'll just have to
D4.
Oh yeah, I can just roll a D4. So roll. It's / I haven't had to roll something on this page.
/ roll space D4.
Roll space D4. Okay. Daphos, you are 1. Oria, you are 2. Tanzel, you are 3. And Grim, you are 4. Let's see how this goes. Oh, Grim.
That's gonna hurt.
What's your defense?
My defense is great.
Great. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Too bad. It's gonna hurt. It's make me cry a bit. Oh my God.
So he brings this massive blade round and brings it down towards you, and
Jesus.
Hitting defense great on 2s. That's terrifying.
They got extraordinary.
Yeah.
That's
rough. That hurts.
Disgusting.
So he
There's
brings
gonna
this.
be no season 2. There's gonna be no season 2.
TPK.
I think there might be something to that. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look at their stats before I put them in the game. Right.
3 of
So,
them.
Yeah, 3 of them as well. This is your fault because viewers at home, for you, those of you at home and watching this, when they increased the doom, they increased this from 1 great unclean one to 3 great unclean ones because that seemed equitable.
So 13 damage then in total?
11 damage.
Well, you have 2 focuses available.
I'm not going to apply focus.
Oh,
to this
okay.
one.
So 11 damage.
Argue with the
Yep. All right. That hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not completely dead yet, but
And
close.
can you do me a body fortitude roll, please?
I think that's
It's a 4/5 as well.
it's a little overkill, but sure. I can do that.
You do.
Oh, that's
do,
right.
'cause
The 6s didn't count.
Yeah, the
properly,
6s. Yeah. So yeah, you are. You do. You actually do. You denied the poison of his blade. You don't stand a chance against me.
You got a good point there, Fatso.
Oh man, he's got so many abilities.
And a bajillion health.
Yeah, he has quite a bit of health. I'm not gonna lie, but you guys did just kill like what was once supposed to be a really like hard fight. So we'll see how this goes. However, it does now hand over to all of you lovely, lovely, lovely people. And you all now get to swing at him.
We need all the tricks of our trade on this one. first?
that would be Borit Ragewood.
Bobby.
Can I try and smash the lantern?
You can indeed try and smash the lantern. How are we going to do this? It'll be melee strike. It's going to be in range of you because they're big, but they're not that big that they tower over you completely. Let's call it a.
And anomaly just gave us another reroll. Nah.
I'm going
Thank
to call.
you.
I'm going to call it a
Thanks, Fun
6.
Anomaly.
I'm going to call it a 6-4 on your combat roll. So make it so that whatever the defense rating is makes it 2 above yours, which would be extraordinary, I want to say, because you're aiming for something. While it is big, it's not big compared to the giant fat thing standing above you.
Okay.
You did just get some rerolls.
Yeah, I'm gonna re-roll that. Such
Sadly not. Sadly not. So you sort of swing.
6 damage.
Yeah. So you go up to swing it, and he kind of sees what you're trying to do. No, they're mine, and kind of puts his hand in front of it, and you sort of like cut right into his his hand, and it oozes with pus and gore, and it's like I said, it's disgusting and horrible, and it stinks. But he does take some damage. So that's something at least. But he sees what you're trying to do, and he's now sort of trying to protect his collection, as it were.
If you want, guys, I could swing again and spend a Soulfire to try and hit it.
It's okay by me.
Yeah, fine by me.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. Or could I just put Soulfire on that one?
I mean, an extra attack does more damage, I guess. Or are you looking to spend? How much metal you got at this point?
I've only got 1, so
So you'd want to be dodging.
yeah.
It's up to you guys as a team.
I'm not sure how I can.
Well, it's the way he
Oh,
hits.
cool.
I don't know that dodging's going to do you any good.
Yeah, he
It
is.
just seems to be coming up with reroll for -1 Soulfire rather than.
I mean, at this point, just do. I mean, I'm happy for you to do another attack if you want to do that.
Or I'll just roll it and see if I can apply it on the next attack.
Okay.
See if that'll let me do it. There we are.
Wunderbar. So, is this an extra attack, or was this you?
No,
doing...
I'm just doing Soulfire.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, right, so obviously you cut his hand, and
But I would hit him as well because of
yes, exactly. So he can, it's mine. And you sort of bring it round, and you notice there's a slight gap in between these very chunky fingers, and you could just get in there, and so you get the point in there, and you hear this god awful crack, and sort of as you do, he's like, you cleave through several of his fingers, and you actually remove 2 of his big fat fingers, but he doesn't seem that bothered about that. That's how much damage did you do there? You did 7 points
12,
of damage.
14, 16 damage in total.
Yeah, but you were trying to hit the lantern.
Oh
You
yeah,
did the
16
cleave-
to the lantern. And
Yeah,
7
Oh, the
to-
lantern smash. I gave that as a 6-4. You've definitely got 4 6s there. But you do 7 damage to him as well. That's fine. Let's take him down a notch. He doesn't seem that bothered by it, but you cleave off a couple of fingers. And he sort of, and as your point sort of makes its way through, you hear that crack and that smash. And as you do, there's almost, you feel the clouds above you almost fill up a little bit. And right, all of a sudden, there's this massive storm. As the lightning bolts all come out, they're still got a purple hue to them, but they all head off towards Azir. And they actually burn him on his way out. And they burn sort of his 2 cauterize his fingers. So I'm going to make it so he can't heal that damage, and give him another couple of points of damage off the back of that as well. He seems very unhappy by this, but I'm going to make it so he can't heal those hit points, because for those of you at home, Great and Clean ones heal, unsurprisingly. And so, no, they were mine. And the souls of the Stormcast Eternals sort of disappear off into the sky, free from this lantern. Tanzil, as it shatters and smashes, it almost gives you a flash in your mind, and you see a elf soul as one of those souls that escaped. It wasn't just Stormcast souls in there. There was an elf soul. You think that likely was a soul of one of your people, and that's how they got potentially the lantern, or at least the sort of the idea on how to make the lanterns work. Now, previously, your people have never managed to capture a Stormcast soul, so they've obviously added some chaotic runes to this, which is a bit annoying for you because they shouldn't be able to do that. But anyway, Boyer, you do anything with your metal, good sir?
Dodge.
Not surprised. Which brings us on to next, Tanzil.
Yeah. I take it I can't charge him with my L again.
You can charge, but you won't be able to get by a Voltic Blast, purely because obviously it takes a while for it to recharge.
Okay, we'll just smash it then.
I mean, if it's any consolation, they don't have armor because they're just big old fat naked things.
What's his target defense?
His target defense is superb.
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah.
Oh,
Could I got any rerolls?
Yeah, you've got
do.
to.
Yeah, and you've also got a focus there as well. You can use that. So you could use, and also you could use a point of metal to give yourself double training or something in it. Or you might want to dodge actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, you feel free to reroll. Oh, there's a good reroll. With the focus applied at 6 points of damage. Lovely. And you kind of like sort of swoop up onto him and sort of glaive him and cut him across the chest, and he's, no, get away from me, pesky elf. And sort of like waves his like blade arm around towards you and sort of wants you to go away. And what would you like to do with your point of metal?
I'm dodging.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Which brings us to Grim Redhammer.
he's spitting blood. He's looking a little angry, a little hurt. So he swings his great axe around with no fear. You said target defense superb, right?
Superb. Yep, it is indeed superb.
But I'm going to spend my metal on double my training dice.
Go for it. Ooh, wait! Isn't it great when you have a dwarf forged great axe? Oh, lovely.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
12
you
damage. Nice.
Oh, you cut
With
into
the
him.
focus.
Yeah. I've applied the focus. So, oh yeah, you cut down. That one hurts him. You sort of split open his side, but as you do, a load of nurglings fall out, and they like sort of chomp at you, and you take 2 points of damage, sir.
That's rough. It hurts. Bypasses my armor, or do I get my armor?
You do get your armor.
Okay, then I'm fine.
It's basically the more of them that come out, the more of them creates a bigger hazard.
Bloody foul thing! Somebody kill this thing!
Which brings us on to we haven't got Hands over here at the moment. He's off elsewhere. That brings us to Dathos. His shiny new. Oh, are you doing anything else, Grim, with any other metal?
No, that's it. So I had to sustain my.
Oh, you're sustaining the armor, yeah.
Are we outnumbered now?
No, you're against one massive monster. Everything else, there is a wider battle clearly going on around you, but it's almost like a heroic Titanic duel going on in the middle. Right
I will also spend a point of metal on my doubling my training dice.
Go for it.
And he's superb, yeah?
He is superb, yeah. Don't you get a bonus if you issue a challenge to him? Sorry,
No, wasn't he extraordinary rather than?
No, he's superb. He's extraordinary to hit you.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, he's cool. You can apply a focus at 4 and get an extra point of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Okay. Oh yeah, look, he's starting to get hurt a bit, guys. He's no, this is my moment of glory. What are you doing? He's still standing. He's got bits and pieces falling over him. You also take 2 points of damage from Nurglings falling out, but I don't imagine that bothers you in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Yeah, didn't think.
And I'll use my other point of metal to dodge.
Well,
can I dodge?
You can indeed dodge.
What does that actually do? Because I've not dodged before.
Ups your defense.
It ups your defense by 1. So,
oh, good.
So back at the top, so it's back to him, and he is angry to say the least. You've sort of really hurt him. However, it is the beginning of his turn, and he heals a number of hit points. That number is 5. Everybody at home
Bloody
is all. He heals at the beginning of every turn. He heals 5 hit points. So sort of angrily, sort of looking down at you. First of all, he sees the giant tin man, and and the tree who's just robbed him of his fortune. So he will first strike at you, Roger. What is your defense rating currently?
Superb.
You will
Although
take.
that's not going to help.
You will take 10 points of damage minus your armor, sir.
Oh yeah, that's way over my toughness.
Is it?
Yeah. I'd already taken a big hit.
Oh, what, from the halberd?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you know.
Okay, well, what's your armor for that anyway? So that's what, 7?
7 damage, yeah. So I'm on -3 toughness.
Ooh, so you do take a wound. It's a minor wound, I think, at that point. It hasn't gone on to the... I can't remember how many it is. Oof. And then he's going to spend a point of metal and attack you, Daphos. And I assume you're also currently superb, sorry.
Yeah.
And you're also poisoned, Raydred.
I'm going to try and re-roll that.
All it does is it lowers your dice for your next test by 1. It doesn't do anything like it doesn't, and it only lasts for a single turn. So basically, when it comes back round to the top, you'll be unpoisoned again. And then superb defense on the and Dathos, you take 12 points of damage minus your armor.
If Roger went to -3, he actually took a serious wound.
Ooh. Sorry, 12 for me.
12 for you. Okay. Lovely.
Okay, God.
And then give me a body fortitude roll.
Where's my fortitude? That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yep, you're fine. Yeah, loving life. Yes, you are not poisoned.
Other than the 12 damage.
Yeah. Minus your armor, of course. But
yeah, -5. So
-4. You lost a point of armor fighting the other.
Oh,
dude.
yes, you did. Yeah,
So you take 8.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, both you and I lost a point of armor fighting the other guy
because he hit you with a rending halberd. So.
Oh God.
So yeah. Oof.
It won't let me delete it.
Just do it manually.
Yeah, just do it manually in your brain then. So he's angry and he's no. It's like whack-a-mole. He's trying to hit you as you guys are trying to like dodge around him and whatnot, trying to get into some of the softer spots for him.
I have 2 toughness left.
I've got 4.
Sorry. Back to you at the top. You are wounded. You can still act as normal. No, you're not.
Does it do anything or
not as of yet? But it will do. I think if you get another one. What's left on your wound tracker?
Well, if I've taken a wound, I've got 3 left.
You've taken 3 wounds, though, haven't you? Because you took a serious wound.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so basically a minor wound is 1.
Then 1.
Well, a serious wound spills up 2 spaces. A deadly wound spills up 3.
So you got 2 left then. You got 2 left then because it doesn't work in that each point of damage is a wound afterwards. It's basically however much damage is left, you then use that to calculate what type of wound you take. So you would take 2 wounds off your 4 tracker. And obviously you can heal stuff back to yourself. You've got Aqua Granus on you, so you can drink some Aqua Granus. It's been a while since I've read that rule for healing. Just bear with me, everybody, as I read Aqua Granus somewhere. Talk amongst yourselves while I look for that.
Well, I don't think it's going to matter because Warrior is going to kill him. This round. So
yeah, sure.
One hit.
Let's go. Let's go with that. Page 100. Oh, I'd already opened it. You can consume. Each drop of Aqua Granus restores 1 toughness, and a phial restores 10 toughness. So you each had 100 things. So you can restore your toughness. You can't restore your wounds; they take longer. But you can restore your toughness by drinking some Aqua Granus. And each
is
point,
that an action or?
Yes, I don't know if it is. Normally, you can't do it into. I don't know if you can do it into combat, but we'll say it's an action in combat. And and you can drink, blah, 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 and each one point you drink gives you a point of toughness back.
Okay, I will drink 8 points, and I'm going to spend my metal to take a swing at him.
Go for it. Defense superb still. Cool. And you got 3 focus, so you can make those 2 4s a
And a
5.
6.
Yep,
So
lovely.
7 damage.
7 damage, lovely. Oh, no, and you guys are really hacking into this guy now. He's really sort of wobbling a little bit, and you can clearly see you're sort of gouging into him and sort of breaking bits and pieces off of him, and you take 2 points of damage from Nurglings falling out on you. It's not going to do anything. You're wearing armor, but otherwise, he is still standing, which then brings us to Tanzil. Good sir.
Yeah, we'll smash it.
Go for it. He is defense superb.
Oh. We'll re-roll.
Go for it. Your rerolls have been coming up good tonight, so let's see what happens with this. It's the same. But you can get an extra point of damage by putting one of those 4s to a 5 of your focus point. And like I said, he's a big old blob of flesh. He doesn't wear armor. So you do definitely do some damage to him. Not as much as you would have hoped, though. And he is still very much standing. Grim.
So
I'm gonna
Grim,
dodge with my metal.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I just automatically assuming now that everyone's just dodging with their extra metal.
I got no extra metal to spend. Grim's just out there on the ragged edge. But he looks over at his giant tin can friend.
But he
Davos.
loves it.
He's like, damn it. And he spins around and grabs his forge key and slams it into Dathos'
Hey!
side. Drops the extra bonus from the armor because I have to, because I can't sustain it. And then I cast Cauterize. Since our bloody priestess Sigmar ran off like a little girl. Okay, so 2 additional successes, and I will spend that point of metal to increase it by my soul as well. So 7 toughness back.
7 toughness back to you there, Daphos.
And that's my turn.
It's your turn.
Oh, thank you kindly, sir.
And then that brings us to you, Dathos.
Right, let's take a swing.
Go for it.
Superb. Defense superb. Point of metal for doubling my training. Or doubling my focus. What do you think's better?
Well, remember, if you spend your metal this time, how you only get 1 metal back around. Do you have enough to do that and dodge?
No, that's the.
I say go all in, double your training, crush him.
Yeah.
Grim's just trying to get us all killed.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a point of metal on doubling my training.
Go for it. You can make that 4 or 5, and that's another 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you sort of plunge the sort of halberd up like that, and you thrust it up towards him, and it kind of lodges into his chest, and you can hear him like wailing and screaming. He's not comfortable with that. He is still, however, standing on the raggedy edge, as it were. You think, because he's got bits and pieces falling off of him now. He's missing a couple of fingers and whatnot. But yeah, he is still standing. It's not great for you guys.
Good hit,
Can
Dathos.
Can I issue a challenge now?
Does it take a metal to issue a challenge, or can you just do it anyway?
I think we've decided we could just do it anyway.
That was Bulwark.
Oh.
Let me have a look at. I'll get your character sheet out.
If the target is the spellcaster. As an action.
So it's an action. So you would essentially have to spend a metal to issue that challenge.
Yeah, right, no worries.
Maybe
next time.
We are back round at the top. But before we sort of go in there, we'll have a look at the wider battle. So sort of over to your right hand side. Obviously, you're sort of all in front of him, and to his right was Bog, and to the left was Smog. Smog seems to be getting the worst of it against the Lord Celestant, Garda Steel Soul. He's sort of in and out of the blade and flail that's sort of swinging around at him, and it looks like a pretty epic battle, but it seems that Gardas is getting the better of it. However, on the right hand side, Bog seems to be getting the better of the Tree Lord. The Tree Lord is now sort of being pushed backwards, and there's other sort of his Sylvaneth, his Corn of Hunter guards that were helping him sort of fight that are now having to try and keep the ever-growing Nurgle forces off of him. And he's getting pushed back. And sort of as you're sort of doing your battle, but also trying to keep an eye on what's going around you, because you don't want to get sort of ambushed and attacked from behind and whatnot. The Stormcast line seems to be holding. They don't seem to be sort of breaking. But as you're sort of like looking around, Bog brings his big old blade around in a big old arc and brings it down. And obviously the tree goes to block and it goes straight through his staff, smashing his staff. Which you almost feel the life magic that was being used to sort of heal a lot of the dryads and stuff around him sort of dissipate, and then it cuts clean off his right arm. So he goes up like that and it comes through, smashes the staff and cuts his clean arm off, and he's now sort of backing up, and you can see the corruption and poison moving into his bark. It doesn't look good for him, but there isn't a huge amount you could do because you're currently faced off with this big old beastie. And he's caught off guard. You can see them all trying to sort of move to defend him and protect him whilst also fight off. But they're certainly getting the worst of that fight over there. You can't really see what's going on the Free Guild because, like I said, it was a point mountain with a tree on top of it. You've kind of come around. In fact, I drew a lovely little map so that I could demonstrate to you. I don't know if you can see this here. So you guys are over here. Yeah. And this is the Sylvaneth forces. You are like sort of, you're here now, so you can't see round the mountain. You can still hear the cannons firing every now and again, and you can still hear the shots. So you figure the Free Guild are still in the fight. And every now and again, you think you hear, For Sigmar! Hands hammerfall. Sounds like he's still around there. But you can't see what's actually going on in that fight. And there obviously was some liberators that turned up with Gardas that went over that way as well. So, it's a fairly big battle going on. But right in front of you, we are back at the top with Mr. Ugly Man himself. He is going to try to first cast a spell. And there is a member of your group who is able to automatically dispel a spell if he so wishes.
Yes.
I won't even bother rolling for it. He was going to try and cast Plague Wind on you guys, and that would have probably ruined your day. And then he will spend a point of metal, and he's going to strike at you, Tanzil, because you've been sort of like and really annoying him. You're like a fly, and normally he likes flies because, grandfather Nurgle. But right now you're sort of like darting around his head and slashing at you. And he's going to swing at you. What's your defense rating? It's superb, isn't it? Because you dodged, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lovely. You will take 9 points of damage minus your armor off that, though, which I believe is 3.
2.
You've got him +1 at the moment from. Oh no, you had to drop it, didn't you?
I had to drop it.
Oh yeah, so you take.
So did you
7.
say 9?
So he will take 7 then, in -2 armor. He'll take 7 off of that.
7.
Is that all of us?
No, that's Jim.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was all of us.
I've got 2 toughness left.
You're fine. You're hanging in there, right? But he did heal some. You could see some of his stuff knitting up.
And then the poison.
Yeah, and then you have to roll a body fortitude roll for me, Jim.
Oh, what?
A body fortitude roll. Otherwise, you
4
get
5.
A 4-5 body point. I believe in you, Jim.
And it's 4 5.
You need 4s and you need 5 of them. Unfortunately, so a valiant effort. 2 6s gave you 4 successes. However, it's not enough, and you have got a poison applied to you. So that means now until basically the Great Unclean One's next turn, you're -1 dice on all your tests.
Yeah. No problem.
However, we are back at the top of you guys, which is Borea or Rageword.
Okay, let's. Oh, how do I remove the poison? Because that should.
If you go to effects, there's you'll see a little jar with a little skull and crossbones in it. It should have a tick in the poison.
Oh,
thing.
okay, just untick it.
Yeah, just untick it, and I'll untick it for you.
Excellent. Let's take a swing then and hope for the best. Target defense superb, yeah?
Yeah, superb. You can get 2 more successes on that guy.
Oh,
and a 6.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, that's fine. I know you've got an extra 1, so that's 7 points of damage. Okay, so your big slash right now, it's cuts right across his chest where it was slowly knitting up. You've reopened it. Load of little nurglings fall out onto you. You take 2 points of damage, but
I'm going to spend a point of metal to swing again.
Go for it.
Would anyone object if I spent Soulfire to try and kill the fucker?
Yeah,
Not at
I
all.
wouldn't complain whatsoever.
Do it.
Excellent.
All right, 16 damage.
Excellent. It is vile to say the least. There's gloop and gore over, and you basically remove he kind of like that hand that had a couple of fingers missing from
We
when you
want
sliced
the
it.
most awfully gross description you can come up with.
It's coming. It's coming. So that, earlier you chopped off a couple of his fingers. And what happens is, as you sort of, you rage, you slice him, and then you bring, and you're roaring, and you can almost see the tree lord hears your roar and sort of redoubles his efforts with his one working arm, and your roar sort of echoes, and the Sylvaneth follow you. But you bring your scythe around, you bring it down, and he puts his arm up, and you cut his arm off, and it is putrid beyond belief. It sprays matter everywhere, and needless to say, it is probably close to what you would consider fecal matter, or splatter gun when you've had a really bad Indian type thing, and it kind of goes all over you. All four of you get covered in this, and it smells awful. And Daphos, you get a little bit in your mouth, and it, for a second, you're Grim, you sort of cover your face as it comes in towards you, but it gets all in your beard. You can feel it, you can smell it. It's like rotten fish stew mixed with fecal matter, and it just is not pleasant in any way, shape, or form. And a load of nurglings burst out all over you guys, and you all take 3 points of damage from that. So take your armor soak on it, but 3 points of damage minus your soak. As a load of nurglings sort of swarm over you as they burst, because the goo turns into nurglings. Gross, to say the least. It was horrifying. Roger, very good job. However, this is a beast of the greatest vile chaos powers. He's not so easily killed. You have dealt his final of his toughness, and he has just taken a deadly wound. However, he's still standing.
Crap.
It's all right. I have absolute faith that Tamsil is about to teabag him.
Finish him.
Do it, Tansil.
Metaphorically, I'm hoping.
Tansil, comes over to you, sir.
Yeah, they're both swinging free, so. Oh, look.
I mean, actually, do you know what? That's enough to give him another deadly wound. So he takes
with a
it.
focus, yeah, you can.
Yeah, can I focus
It doesn't matter, because anything 3 or more is deadly wounds. So
Okay.
you're only doing deadly wounds at this point. And sort of like, you see all this ichor and it goes everywhere, and you're ill. He looks a little bit displeased about the fact he's been covered in it, because he's used to being slimy, but not this kind of slimy. And you sort of bring your sort of blade round, and you sort of skirt around the back of him, and you cut open a massive gash on the back of his neck. And
Okay.
he kind of gurgles as the spray comes out of his mouth as well, and he's like, "Oh no!" as the gurgle, and it's just disgusting and awful. And I mean, you might as well just be swimming in a bog full of poo right now, because that's what it smells like. But he is still standing, but he is looking very worse for wear. You guys are definitely getting the better of him now. He's kind of sort of lazily swinging his blade around and whatnot. And we move on to you, Grim.
Jim's got metal.
Oh, Jim has got metal. Sorry, Jim, would you like to spend your metal?
I'm going to smack him again.
Go for it. Oh, loving
nice.
it, loving life.
Fine hit.
A fine hit. And sort of like, you cut the back of his neck, but what you do is you just keep on going, and he's gurgling, he's screaming, you bring it back again, and now the whole back of his head is just like gashed open and flowing. His head's kind of flopping forward. He's still standing. But he's not on the up and up, I can say that much. But he looks pretty much like you've almost got him. You've almost got him.
It looks like a dwarf needs to hit him.
Put my pot down, please.
I mean, sorry, Dwardin.
Enough of this. You got poo in my beer. And he will spend his medal to double his training dice.
Go for it.
Can I flick a bit of my hair over? Like,
Absolutely. In fact, the briny water, as you flick it into him, sizzles in the gaping wound you've left on the back of his
No,
neck.
I mean over at Grim to get the poo out of his beard.
Oh, even better. Yeah. You kind of like flick a load of hair over, and you're like, it's like you're showing off as well, because you're kind of trying to show the Dwarden how it's done, and you flick your hair over, and Grim, all this sort of briny seawater, and it doesn't really wash the poo out. What you've now got is a fish stew, briny, pooey smell, literally sitting in your beard. It's not a good day for you at all in terms of beard maintenance.
Bloody elves.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Another deadly wound. Oh, it's so close. It's so close. We have one more member of the party to strike.
Unless Grim has metal.
That was I only have 1 point of metal, so I regenerated only 1 point of metal, and I spent it to double my.
That's right.
Okay.
And we have one member of the party left.
I will do the same.
Bit
I
of
will
shit.
double my training.
So his head's kind of hanging over. It's not like attached anymore. You can see it's trying to knit itself back together.
Was it superb? Yeah.
Yeah, superb defense rating.
I don't want to look.
Nice.
Give me your best description on how you're going to deal with this guy and finish him off.
Right. So this giant one-handed halberd comes swinging around, splitting his gut open like a giant smile. Guts and gore and goo and viscera start pouring out of his split stomach. Nurglings gibbering in what is now a sort of hot, sweaty, messy goo that's steaming a bit, and this pustule green almost bursts out like you've squeezed a good spot.
That was beautiful.
Nice.
So eloquent. Such poetry.
You know what I'm like when it comes to description.
It's beautiful because that is how it happens. And this like, and sort of, previously you fought these kind of demons, they dissipate straight away, but this one doesn't dissipate straight away. It kind of like does all this lovely gory stuff that's just been described, and his like head finishes rolling off when Tanzil was separating it. He's obviously lost his regenerative, and there is now just a big old puddle of goo and nurglings on the floor. And it gives you a brief moment. You can almost feel there's a pause around the battlefield because this is the first one to go down, and sort of like, you're obviously all pretty banged up at this point in time as well. And you sort of survey the battlefield, and to your left, Garda Steel Soul, as I said earlier, he was definitely getting the better of the fight, and he has. You turn just in time to see him put in a proper decent finishing mood. He puts his sword into the beast's face and then swings his hammer around and uses his hammer to smash the tip of the sword, and the sword just goes clean through. And sort of almost like the power from it creates a lightning bolt that pulls the demon out of this realm of existence, and it just explodes all over the floor. The Liberators behind you, you've seen a few more of them have been dying over the battle, but they've been holding off the rest of the Nurgle forces, and you can see they're starting to like shake and shimmer because they're losing their anchor to this realm. Obviously, the great unclean ones were their power and what's holding them here. But Bog is still standing, and actually you turn, and the Tree Lord Ancient is now on his back, and Bog looks set to finish him off. And he sort of brings his sword up, and the Tree Lord he's not trying to defend himself. He's still flailing at the beast with his clawed hands, trying to bring up roots to attack it and stuff. And Bog just laughs, and he brings his thing up. And as he does and goes to land the blow, these two massive antlers just pierce straight through Bog, and gut and viscera goes everywhere. And this giant beetle rears up with Bog attached on its front, clean, and then a massive spear goes through his face and back out again. And as he dissipates from the realm, you see the most glorious image you've ever seen.
I drop to one knee.
You absolutely do drop to one knee, for standing before you is Alariel, the goddess of life, the lady of Gairan. Even you, Grim, are taken by her beauty and wonder and splendor and power. This is a living god. Tanzil, you're an Elf. You don't really get on with the other elf gods, but in this moment, it's glorious. And Daphos, you have breathe a big sigh of relief, because one, you were hoping not to have to fight a full strength Bog, but more importantly, you've completed your mission. You're here Alariel is here. This is who you were for. And sort of loads of things burst out of the trees, and a whole entire massive army of Sylvaneth comes, and they sort of clear up and sweep up and whatnot, and sort of battle starts to dissipate, and the enemy forces run and flee, and the Skaven unit dash off, and what's left of the Free Guild Guard, there isn't a huge amount of the Free Guild Guard left, and sort of, you haven't had this chance to go speak to Alariel yet, but the battlefield's setting aside, and there's healers doing their business now and whatnot. And unfortunately, you make your way sort of around the battlefield to survey it. All of the cursed, corrupted liberators are all gone. There's a few liberators sort of helping clear up the mess. And Gardis sort of walks up to you, Davos. That was a fine show. Well done, all of you. Worthy of the heroes and annuums of our great people. You shall be recorded in the texts of the Hallowed Knights as glorious heroes. We've done our duty here. Davos, I will leave you to negotiate with the God Queen. I'm needed elsewhere. And that clap of thunder, the remaining him and his rest of his liberators disappear. And so you make your way around, and you can see the Sylvaneth. They're picking up the dead bodies of Free Guild Guard and stuff, and trying to help, and whatnot. Unfortunately, you do find the body of Hans Hammerfall. He did fall in battle. By all accounts, it was glorious. He waded into 20, 30 Skaven alone and took on a great massive rat ogre on his own. But ultimately, he's now dead, body broken and rent. He's got wounds all over him. It's a great shame.
Well, we should probably take his hammer back to that witchfinder, Dietrich von Grissel or Gissel or some such. I'm sure that he'll be happy to hear that his good friend died gloriously.
Yeah.
In battle.
However, decisions do have consequences. And the Lord Marshal, who is leading the force, Lord Marshal Armand Volker, he comes to you in a rage, a flying rage. You left us! You left us to fend for ourselves. We could have used you. He'd still be alive, and points to Hammerfall's body. He was a true hero of our people. You are not. And he points like all of you, and sort of, he's very angry. He's lost a lot of troops and whatnot. And
Manling, I'm not one of your people. I'm a fire slayer. I was hired to do a job, and I did the job.
I'll flick my quiff bag.
You're not tough enough to handle a bunch of rats, then that's your problem.
You can see his hand tightly gripped upon his hilt of his blade, and sort of you see his adjutant sort of, my lord, what now?
Clearly this guy is a tactical genius, because he is completely and utterly aware of the fact that if we weren't here and the reinforcements weren't here, he would have been outflanked by 3 greater demons and all their forces.
He didn't see that. He was on the other side. He doesn't know that it was 3 great unclean ones.
No, indeed, which is why we are explaining that to him now.
He doesn't care. He's lost so many of his troops over the last few days. Do you obviously feel like there's a simmering anger underneath him that he got the cog for? He's obviously been ambushed multiple times, and his forces have been diminished. Unfortunately, his hatred it's not just him. You can see amongst the Free Guild against, the Dwarden on the hills with the cannons and that, they don't look happy to see any of you. It sounds like the word going around is that you abandoned them for the trees. And that's how they view it. And you may no longer find, later series, that you have allies within the Free Guild Guard. However, you did choose the Sylvaneth to help. And Lady Alariel, after you've sort of walked around the battlefield, she's dismounted a beetle, and she's sort of tending. You can see she's tending to the wounds of her tree, Mr. Silverbark, and she's sort of tending to his wounds and that. And he utters some word in Sylvaneth. None of you understand it, but Boria, you hear him, and he said, "These are the ones who gave us aid."
While we're on the battlefield, would I have been able to pick up one of the big swords?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the Sylvaneth great swords. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Put it with all your other weapons that you got sticking out your bark. And sort of, this godly presence that is Lady Alariel. It's not just, you're not running the mill chatting to someone. There's a level of reverence. And she steps forward towards you after she's sort of done some magic and whatnot. And these Kornoth hunters are all around her. they don't particularly trust you, especially you, Daphos, right now, having seen the several Stormcasts wade into a load of Sylvaneth. They're not necessarily particularly, and the Sylvaneth aren't particularly trusting anyway. However,
I mean, are they eyeing me warily?
no, no. You are absolutely fine. They don't.
Okay.
You
I was
could
just
walk up.
checking. Otherwise,
Yeah.
that would have been like,
No,
whoa.
absolutely not. They're absolutely fine with you. You're Sylvaneth, and they can hear you in the tree song, and you can hear them in the tree song, and you can hear sort of the tree song sounds a lot more harmonious than it did earlier, and sort of the word seems to be going out that the battle has been won and the Oak of Life has been protected. Lady Alario steps forward, and it's a beautiful voice, and it almost captivates you. Not you necessarily, Boya, it was already captivating you. She's your goddess, but the rest of you almost captivates you to the point you can't think straight, and it sort of enters your mind and it sort of reverberates around your mind. You have done me a great service. You aided my people. What, may I ask, are you here for?
Daphos, you're up.
Yep.
Memory failing me.
You're here to garner an alliance.
The Stormcast seek an alliance.
Is this true, Stormcast?
Yes, my lady.
You have done much to repair the relations today between myself and the court of Sigmar. What does he offer?
I don't remember what he offered.
You've got a seal of Sigmar on you.
I will present the seal of Sigmar.
To you, it's just a stone with Sigmar's hammer on it. But as she reaches out with her taloned hand, because she's got a normal hand and she's got a taloned hand that's like bark, she reaches out and she touches it, and it's almost like a Jedi holographic thing comes
I
up.
was going to say, please accept his gift. This gift, these two droids.
Yeah, not quite like that.
Played the wrong message.
So,
You can keep this Stormcast.
no, but like words come up, and you guys can't read it, but boy, you can read it, and it seems to say that Sigmar, and it's actually a direct message from Sigmar. It looks like Sigmar's written this, and it says, Lady Alario, for too long, the gods of order have been separated by our realms and by the wars we've been fighting. I ask for your permission to allow me to launch the Dawnbringer Crusades to help bring about peace to the realms. I will, of course, respect the sacrosanct nature of your lands. Please return the answer. And she just sort of looks to you, Daphos, and just nods her head and says, your Dawnbringer Crusades may enter the realm of Gairan, but always be wary. For if you damage the woods or damage the trees or damage life, the alliance will be broken. And with that, she turns and she does a hair flick that would make you envious, Tanzil. You know, her hair flows, and as it flows around her, sort of, there ain't briny water that flicks around, but there's like petals and leaves and stuff like that. And as it hits the floor, some of the Sylvaneth who have fallen, sort of, they don't come back to life, but they become soul pods, which is, or you can explain to them later, this is how new Sylvaneth are born.
I shall let some of my salty brine go, so it joins with her.
It's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful moment. The briny sort of water hits the petals, and it's beautiful. It's almost like it helps them grow. But in this moment, it seems the alliance, as tenuous as it has been forged, obviously the Free Guild don't feel quite as open and happy about it. But you sort of set upon your way. You have your answer, and sort of you leave the glade, as it were, back on your journeys now, and you're heading back. But obviously, not for you guys, but for the viewers at home, standing at the edge of the glade, watching over this is a disheveled man wrapped in rags. Many of you will recognize him as Hodge or Podge. And it would appear that they have foiled our plans, Podge. Yes, Hodge. And for the first time ever, there is two of them. However, they meld together and slowly become two avian heads. And we will end the season there as our adventurers return to Hammerhall and give the great news and clarion calls of heroes. But of course, the rumors around the city are that they're traitors and the Free Guild Guard don't like them anymore. However, they are heroes and they are welcome.
Because they're pansies.
However, we have ended the season there. I hope everybody's enjoyed the trip and everybody's enjoyed the story, and hope you guys playing have enjoyed it as well.
Oh,
I know I've
big
very
fun,
much,
Dan.
I've very much enjoyed doing it, and I hope that everybody at home wants a season 2. Hopefully, because I've already started.
Well, everybody here wants a season 2, that's for sure.
I mean, that's ultimately what matters, right? We want to play another season. So yeah, thanks to everybody for being involved and coming along and watching us, and giving your re-rolls to these guys who have absolutely destroyed everything I've thrown at them so far. So we'll have to see what I can throw at them in season 2. As always, come and join us on our socials. If you're watching on YouTube, watch us on Twitch, and if you're watching us on Twitch, join us on YouTube. Got a back catalogue of loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff, all brilliant stuff. Some of it with us in it, and some of it with loads of other members of the Garblag community in it, and our other crew guys and whatnot. And Discord, we're always there chit-chatting away. So come across, tell us how we're doing, let us know things you want to see potentially in the future. What have we got on Garblag for the rest of the week, everybody? Oh, actually,
tomorrow
we have the Great Garblag Quiz of 2022.
Yes, we do indeed. Where me and Roger and Dan are the Quizzards of the coast, and we shall be taking on Pat, Nye, and
no, it's not Aldine.
Is it not Aldine? It's somebody else. There is definitely 3 other players on the other side. Millie. Oh well, we're definitely going to lose then, aren't we?
Oh, I mean that was from the start.
So tomorrow we have the Great Garblag.
We'll be there.
Yes, but we will be there. It will be fun, and merriment will be there. It's our sort of end of year Christmassy thing we like to do, and sort of have a bit of fun. And then Aaron on tomorrow evening.
So tomorrow night, Garblag North America at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, or 3 a.m. if you're in Great Britain. You guys should still get up and watch it because it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do also a Christmas one-shot of Modiphius's Conan, where our normal group of Achtung Cthulhu players will, with Matt as a player, and I'll be running the Conan. We'll have a little adventure called a Yule without Sinterklaas. So please join us for that. And then on Friday, I believe we're still playing some Dungeons and Dragons 5e with Lewis's Sky Pirates, if that's correct.
I believe so.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And then next week is Christmas and New Year.
Probably not much.
And there's probably not a lot going on other than drinking and eating and getting merry and fat. I'm already halfway there.
You can always ask us on the Discord, and I'm sure.
Yeah, and we always put posts on the
Pete
Discord.
and the others will tell us.
Yes. However, if we don't see, we'll probably see you guys tomorrow night. But
we hope
Merry Christmas.
Join us tomorrow night.
And all the Happy New Years and whatnot. And if you don't get a chance to see the Modiphius thing tomorrow evening, definitely catch it on YouTube later on because it is good fun. I watched the Achtung Cthulhu and it is good fun. So I will leave you with thanks for watching us and good night.
Good night.
We're going to be staying here for a bit because
I was about to say, because we don't have a producer to
we've got to do a professional end first, and then we can tell everybody
nothing
we're not
professional about us, Dan. You've met us.
Yes, unfortunately, we're going to do that classic thing where we're shuffling papers like newsreaders now until Pete is
now
able to
the news at 10
and shut us down. I don't know if anyone's got the Twitch chat open. If people want to ask us questions, if there is anybody still there and they want to watch us and talk to us and ask us questions, please do. Otherwise, we're just going to chat rubbish for however long it takes. Oh, no, never mind. In which case, I will say for a second time, good night. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed and see you next time.
And everyone have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.